Good morning, everyone. This is the September 12th Project Review Committee meeting for the City of Ithaca Planning and Development Board. I will call your name to do introductions on the Zoom. Andy,
Andy Rollman, member of the board.
Max,
Max Pfeffer, member of the board.
Lisa,
Lisa Nicholas, Director of Planning and Development and staff to the board.
Nikki,
Hi, Nikki Sarah, Environmental and Landscape Planner and staff to the board.
and Sam.
Sam Quinn Jacobs, planner and staff to the board.
And I'm Emily Petrina, Chair of the board. This morning, we're looking at two projects. Our first is 215 College Avenue redevelopment. Do we have the applicants in the waiting room? Great. Hi, Charlie. I see Charlie. Hi, Noah. Hi, Annie.
Good morning.
I see the three of you. Hi, good morning. So anyone else from your team, or is this the crew for today?
Maybe Nick will jump on later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for him. Okay, so we are looking at preliminary and final site plan approval on the 23rd this month. Do you have a presentation you want to run through for us today?
Yep.
Great. Okay, I can see your screen.
Great. Noah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we just mostly wanted to focus on the roof terrace, which is something you guys have not really seen or we haven't dug into. So we have a design here of kind of a multi-purpose lounge activity, recreational kind of game space. And a variety of surface materials from pavers to a wood tile to these turf products. One of the things we want to point out is we also have we have a green roof perimeter, an actual sedum planting around the outside, as well as some planters to sort of augment the space with kind of a mixture of natural plantings and these more durable surfaces, right, for game activities and stuff like that. So, Andy, maybe the next slide is a good, kind of visual of the variety of spaces. So we've got this pergola structure that covers kind of an outdoor seating, bar, dining, barbecue area. And then we've got the wood deck area that has lounge seating, and then these turf areas with like table tennis and cornhole. And it's meant to be kind of a multi-purpose space. So game activities can be kind of interchangeable, or outdoor yoga or whatever, things are movable and flexible. So yeah, I mean, I think the images are somewhat self-explanatory. One of the things we also did was we pulled the railing away from the edge. That's kind of a safety factor, and also just kind of visual as well. So everything is kind of tucked to the interior a little bit, so people are not hanging out right out over the edge, where we've got this kind of planted perimeter. So I mean, that's the main thing we want to talk about today, and then also just check in and see if there are any other questions or outstanding issues that might need to be addressed for both preliminary and final approval next or in a couple of weeks.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Andy, can I start with you for reactions?
Sure, yeah, thanks, Noah. I don't have any questions on the main building per se, but on the roof deck, thanks for all of these great images. It really illustrates the design. My only question would be on the synthetic turf. We really learned a lot through the Cornell Meinig project about synthetic turf, and we ended up in a compromise asking that team, or they actually proposed it, to do an organic fill in the synthetic turf, instead of doing the crumb rubber, which is the typical fill for that material, doing an organic fill. So I think it'd be good to get maybe a little more information or the spec on that material. It just seems like that would be consistent with, our thinking at this point. That would,
Yeah, I could address that. This particular product is not quite the same as that, where it's not an active sports field type with that fill. It's more of an outdoor carpet essentially. And we have two materials. One is like a putting green, where we're actually going to have a couple of holes cut in, so they could do an outdoor putting games. And then the pet turf is just a little bit thicker, softer space, which is kind of the cornhole area. So these are not like a fillable. It's really an outdoor carpet if you think about it that way.
And no, we could drop off samples
Yes.
so they could see them before the next planning board meeting.
Yeah. Because I definitely understand the concern, and then with the fillable material, but that's not what this is.
right. And you're also aware of the law that's coming out, sort of banning any carpet with, I can't remember the
PFAS.
term. Yeah, PFAS. So would that play into this as well?
We'll have to check on that, but
Okay,
that's a good point. And we'll submit. We've got all the product data. Yeah.
okay,
In addition to samples, we can show the material
right.
data.
And is the Tile Tech, is that a paver?
Yeah.
Or
So
is it an actual, roof paver? Is it
yeah,
just,
so Tile Tech is the brand, and it's an entire system. So it's a green roof, or it's a roof deck surface system that has each of these various products. So they all integrate over a pedestal, so there's an under
Right.
drainage system. But so the Tile Tech we've got a porcelain tile, the wood Ipe tile, and then the artificial turf.
great, so
Which-
it
yeah.
allows for the drainage on pedestals. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and also the green roof system, the planted system is also, everything is a tile. It's a tray system. So it's all drainage underneath the entire thing. And we're going with this particular product because it is integrated, and they have so much variety of different materials that work together, rather than trying to create some hybrid of a variety of different materials. It's a nice, single system.
Right, okay, thank you. Those are all my comments. Thank you.
Great. Max, please.
Yeah, thanks very much. This looks really nice. I have just three questions. If you could say a little bit about the entry and exit from this. Also, what are the plans for nighttime lighting, if any? And there was one more thing. I'll think of it while you talk.
Okay, sure. Yeah, the entrance you can see in the sort of the stair tower in the middle there, that's got like a main exit there, and then the walkway goes around to the taller building, which has additional exiting. So but this space can accommodate, two exits. And this is also not part of the means of egress for the rest of the building. So if you're inside the building in any case, you don't have to go through this space or anything. This is all, it's a separate space on its own. And then for lighting, we're going to have definitely entrance lighting, building mounted lighting at each of these entrances. And I should point out there's actually a restroom in that darker section there. So there's a couple of doors there to two fully accessible restrooms that would also have lighting, building mounted lighting at each door. The only other lighting we've talked about is in the pergola. There would be some lighting, kind of like chandelier lighting over a dining table sort of thing. And then we're thinking about some sort of low voltage kind of railing lighting around the perimeter. The intention is to kind of have minimal lighting that is for safety functions, but not necessarily, we definitely don't want to light this up as a really bright activity space. So it's really meant to be primarily a daytime use. It's not, we don't want to light this well into the evening, but there will be some kind of ambiance lighting, if you will.
Yeah, good. That reminds me of one of my questions was I have two more actually. What this would look like from below, and so the lighting I see low intensity. That kind of answers my question. But the pergola and so forth, from street level, will that be visible?
Yeah, Annie, do you have there is a view, right, that we've seen where
Yeah,
you can just barely make out the
not
street.
really. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we submitted last month with the planning board material. But let me see. Sorry, I can pull up while we're talking.
I think it's
Sure.
in the full.
There was one this month too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I think in that reduce, yeah, from the Linden Ave side. Yep.
There
Yeah,
you
so
go.
so there you can see the railing and that darker
Oh,
pergola
okay. Yeah.
structure. So it's remarkably minimal actually in terms of what you see from the street.
Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. Then just one last question. I guess it's kind of related to the lighting in a little bit is what are your what's your thinking about the management of that space in terms of restricted hours and so forth?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it. I'll let Nick or Charlie speak to that.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, we are going to have video surveillance up on that space, and that kind of it rolls into kind of some of the lighting, right? We're trying to keep just enough lighting and security cameras up there that we can monitor and have recorded video of what's happening to kind of make sure that we're able to manage and control kind of behavior up on the roof. But it isn't our current intent to restrict access in the evening. I think that we want this to be, even in the evenings, a space that tenants can responsibly use. But obviously, given that we'll have video surveillance, if it starts to become a problem, we will have the capacity to restrict access.
And to clarify, the doors will have card access to get into the space. So should they want to fully shut it down at certain hours, they have that option to program that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Those are all the things that were on my mind. Thank you. Looks good.
Great. Thank you. So I think there's just a couple items to make sure, housekeeping items for the next time we see you. The lighting that you talked about on this amenity rooftop deck, to make sure that's included in the lighting plans. And then also your seeded planting perimeter to make sure that's in the planting plans and called out. And I don't have any other further questions. I agree. I think it looks great. It'll be a nice amenity for the kids. We had briefly talked about like a 10 p.m. maybe closing time, for the rooftop. But maybe this is just a see how it goes, and it will self-regulate. If there's complaints from neighbors, you have the ability to close it down. So let's talk about that at the big meeting and see how staff and other board members feel about that. Lisa, Nikki, anything else you'd like to bring up?
I had
Well-
one thing. Nikki, did you have something?
Nope, go ahead, Lisa.
So thank you for showing the details of the roof deck. It's really lovely. We definitely have to run it by building and zoning. I don't know if the amenities you're providing in the structures kick it into a story category. Sometimes that does. No, I don't know if you.
Yeah, we have reviewed that with Megan. So in this particular zone, apparently it's unlike the B zones in this district that doesn't count as a story. Because I definitely had that question for Megan.
Yeah,
I
okay,
thought
all
it
right.
was too, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. And just in terms of the hours, I think some restriction is very reasonable. It could be midnight, but I mean, the sound will bounce off of that building and, go into Bell Sherman if people are up there all night, or maybe there's I think the board would like to see information about, like, is there going to be amplified music allowed? That kind of thing. Is alcohol allowed? All of that to make their decision about the operations of it.
Great, thank you. So we'll continue that conversation. Nikki, anything?
No, I think you guys had all the questions. It looks fun. I'd like to be up there.
Yeah.
I'll go up. Yeah, I think they did great job, board. I'm also interested, of course, in that new carpet roll and PFAS. So definitely look into that. And I understand it's just a rollout, but still, it does fall under that. And if you might have mentioned this, but to see the green roof specs, that would be great too. And thanks for putting that in too. That's excellent.
Okay. Well, I will say this again when we see you in a few weeks, but I think this building is really handsome. It's going to be a wonderful addition to College Town. And I thank you again for working with us to make the front and the back public spaces really inviting and accessible to the street. I think those are very strong. So thanks to your team.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see you in a few weeks.
Great.
Yep. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, next up we have Water's Edge, 683 3rd Street. And we are looking at a presentation and updates today and in September. Hello, Ian. Hi, Crystal.
How's everyone
Anyone?
doing this morning?
Great,
Hello, good
thank you.
morning.
Anyone else from your team today?
Brian Buchkowski with ECA should be on as well.
Okay.
Just let him
Thanks
in.
for great.
Thanks,
Oh,
Sam.
there I see him. Thanks for joining us. We missed you last month, but I'm sure you have updates. So if you have a presentation, go ahead and kick it off.
Yes, absolutely. And apologize, I'm in my car today, so I'm going to stay off camera, but happy to see everybody. Let me share my screen with you all. All right. So yes, last month we skipped the planning board meeting. We've been working on a lot of design changes, given kind of the situation with Vecino's departure and just kind of rethinking the building programs and everything as we reevaluate the site design based on comments we've received from the planning board members and city staff planning. So in the package, you should have seen, let me see here, this updated site plan. And so in summary, we've really been advancing some of these following revisions. So you can see on the southeast building, which used to be the mixed income project, we've actually adjusted that to be market rate units. In addition to the units changing, the southeast building is going to have a much larger tenant amenity space. You can see here kind of this bluish purple color up on the front. Because of the building changing program, the footprint has shrunk substantially. And so a couple benefits that have come out of that is one, we've been able to kind of relocate its position, shifting it both a little bit north and a little bit to the west. And what that does is, first of all, these ground floor units that you see over here in the orange, it gives them a little bit more breathing room from the Cayuga Waterfront Trail. It allows us to provide them a little bit of an outdoor amenities space prior to the screening that we previously proposed along that edge. Similarly, shifting it to the west, that's allowing us a good buffer to stay out of this blue line, which is the new floodplain zone, as well as allow for some utilities to pass along that edge of the building. In the southwest building, we have listened to the concerns and feedback provided by the planning board members and decided to consolidate the retail space in replacement of the micro retail that we had previously suggested. The placement of the retail in this northwest corner will continue to activate the waterfront trail as we've always spoken about. But what we feel this will also do is help to start to activate this plaza space a little bit better than what the previous plan had proposed. You'll see here we are switching what was the micro retail to kind of expand more of that tenant amenity space that was in this corner. This is just diagrammatic. We haven't worked through all of this footprint yet, but we just wanted to start to have this conversation with you all so you can see kind of what the switch is. We will not be, the parking is still going to be under the building in these two locations as previously shown, but we're still going to be screening it with program along the edge of the Cayuga Waterfront Trail. As we've kind of reconfigured this building, a couple of things have happened in terms of the site. And one of those is kind of looking at just streamlining and trying to optimize circulation, both vehicularly and parking wise. And so you can see this end here in the very bottom has changed a little bit, and I'll flip to the old plan here in just a second. But again, just kind of simplifying circulation and making the parking a little bit less puzzle pieces as it was in the last one, I'll say. Additionally, we have a little bit more public space here at the end of this southwest building because we had to shrink this wing just a little bit to make the unit matrix work. And so we've got a bigger public space that we can program and look at in the future. Besides that, just wanted to highlight everything else has really remained the same on the site. So flipping to the old plan, I've got highlighted here just kind of those zones so you can kind of see, back from what we've proposed now to what we had before, streamlining this intersection and the parking here, a little bit more open space in this area, the adjustments around the southeast building, and then again, highlighting the change in the building program on the southwest. And then the last additional new information that we have for you today is we started to look at the screening for the parking openings. And so I'll let Brian touch on just kind of the approach to the design here for that.
Sure. This is Brian. Eric again wasn't able to make it this morning. Good morning. Looking at, and we're still studying this, but looking at some perforated metal screens in this area with some custom designs, working with some imagery in this area rather than the louvers or the slats that we had before. So still, working on the development of all of this.
Thanks, Brian. I think that's all we had for you this week. As we talked about, we're going to be advancing this based on your feedback today, and we'll present the changes to the board at the end of the month in September.
Okay, thank you very much. Max, can I start with you for feedback, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. These are some interesting changes. I guess I would want a little bit more information on the southeast building, and what I have in mind in particular was how many units there will be there, and how does that compare with what you had anticipated before? Do the dimensions of the building change slightly? What about the height of the building, the number of floors, and so forth? I think a little more information about that would be very helpful. And the other thing, I'll just keep going here, is on the retail space. This is an interesting change. I think a little more information about what you envision the access from the trail would be. I think the other access from the other side from the south side, I guess, is clear, but access to the retail space from the trail. And then I guess a little bit more information about the amenity space that you have implied there. How will that be accessed by residents? Will that amenity space be open to the public? And just a few things like that. Those are just things that come to my mind with this presentation.
Thank you, Max. Andy?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Crystal, for the presentation. I'm in line with Max. I think for all of these changes, I would say, a lot more detail. And I think, for the board having much clearer kind of what it was before next to what you're proposing, because it's really hard to understand or remember, what was there before. These diagrams don't really tell us much. And kind of more explanation, as Max is saying, why the retail there. It's interesting that you're moving the retail from the waterfront edge and kind of moving it around the corner, which, yes, will, definitely activate that plaza, but it's taking it away from the public along the waterfront. So, kind of I'm wondering about that. And then again, that amenity space in that really thin space, like what really is that program? Just so that we can understand that this is really thought out. And then lastly, are hoping that you'll talk about the subdivision, and what we're really hoping to see is what options you have for the part of the project that you're not developing in this first phase. I think that's critical as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Andy. Yeah, I had similar thoughts and comments. I would love to see, you started to show us the before and after, but the other plan you had was a different type of plan than this. I think it had plantings. It was a little more of a rendered plan, but I think this very line drawing plan before and after would be the most easy to see the changes. I like the idea of more retail space and kind of congregating it at that plaza. But also same comments. I think if we get a little more detail and zoom in on it, understand access and how the rest of the tenant amenity space will still activate the trail. I think that will be interesting, but this seems like potentially a positive move. I wonder about the parking breakdown. If the spots are exactly the same number, it's just traffic control and reorganized. So if you can let us know that next time if there has been any change in count. And I think Max already said unit count for the southeast building. Let's talk about, nobody touched on the screening that was presented. So, I mean, I like the idea that you're animating it with some imagery as opposed to the slats, because I think the building is very much a slatted building, so it was very monotonous, and this gives an opportunity for a different feel. Any thoughts from Andy or Max on this?
Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, I think this definitely has potential. I think it's better than the louvers. I'm sure your challenge will be getting the free area that you need, if there is any requirement, or if this is really just, an aesthetic screen for the parking. I don't know how much, ventilation you're hoping for from this, but I mean, it's definitely better than the louvers, and I like the idea of, having some iconography that's, related to the site and the location.
Well, I guess I would just say that thank you, because I think this was I think Emily raised this concern before, and you've been responsive to that, so that's good. And I think that I would agree with Andy that these are improvements, and with Emily as well. I like the imaging on it and so forth. So I think this is moving in a positive direction from what you had before.
Okay, and then I'll just second the idea to please bring ideas for the north parcel, and if there's any development at all, any changes to the edge condition between the trail and that parcel. Lisa, Nikki, anything else you want to add today?
You guys really cover everything. Thank you. I had it all written down. I'm like, yeah, you got it. Yeah, I think just importantly, we'll need to know square footage of both buildings as soon as you have that all wrapped up, because it's not, I didn't even know you shrunk that. I should have paid more attention to the southeast building. So it'd be nice to know the square footage, and as everyone touched upon, that unit configuration. I know that you all know you can't go above 200 units period there, but what's the configuration now with bedrooms, et cetera, too, for each unit? And it'd be really nice to see. That sounds lovely to have more space on that southeast side along the waterfront. So that would be nice to see both waterfronts, I think, again, with this new configurations that you have with that tenant amenity, and then those backyards or front yards of those other units.
Great.
And I think that, kind of like City Harbor, for those of you who are here, I think that what happens in that space between the trail and this parking, ground floor parking, really beefing up the landscaping or creating some topography or something to kind of use also that as a screen. I know this is supposed to be a nice visual thing, but other features to create more of a multiple kind of screening effects, I think would be effective.
Great comments. Okay, I think that'll do it for today. Thank you for this presentation, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks to everybody. That was a short one.
Yeah.
Do we, I don't think we need to adjourn, but let's call it adjourned, and we'll see you
Well,
on the 20. Do we?
Do you want to
Yes.
do agenda review?
Oh, thank you. We are not allowed to adjourn just yet. Go ahead, Nikki.
Nice
Thank you.
try. I'm kidding.
It was so fast. I thought we would keep the speediness.
Yeah,
but
I
that's
mean,
okay.
why not? You guys know this anyway, but there is one sign package that was not on the PRC that got in on time to come, so that'll be a new thing. And as always, interrupt if you have any questions. Did everyone see this okay? Okay, so minutes, of course, and then public comments and response. First off, I just put it here as a placeholder, the subdivision and then the SPR, since they're together, of Water's Edge. But as you'll see, the actions are presentation and updates, because you're going to need more information to vote on anything. So that's what Water's Edge will be here for. And then 215 College Ave is preliminary and final site plan approval is what they're scheduled for. Then we do have Hillel. They did not come today because there was nothing new and no real subs. I think, you guys seem to really like that project. There was nothing really for them to show that had changed. So they will be coming for seeker determination.
If I remember, there was not a lot of highlighted things left out of the seeker, right?
Right.
Last time
Sam,
it
is
was
there
pretty well
anything else
finished.
that's
No,
big?
really not too much.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course we'll send that. Sign review. We have two. We have 445 East State, which is coming back. They didn't have anything in time for the PRC, so they'll have something to show you at the planning board. And then there is another sign package at the College Town Dispensary on Dryden Road, which will be coming through. This was at staff level, and we actually did not approve it. So this is much like the Moose Lodge that you guys saw. It'll be coming, and we'll actually have a write-up of how it did not meet, how we feel, the staff feels it did not meet the design guidelines, and then Megan will have a write-up too of the zoning for the sign ordinance, like what they need for variances.
Okay.
And then I actually need to put some more on this because we do have two big things coming through. We have some changes to the sign ordinance that we're going to show you. And then we also have a lot of changes to the site plan review ordinance. And we'll send it out to you. You guys can start looking at it, and we can talk about it here, and then we can also talk about it in October, because we'd love to take it after you guys review and want to make any, comments or changes to Common Council in November. So those two ordinances.
So we will have the drafts of those before we meet next. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yep, absolutely.
I'll make sure I read through it and encourage everyone to read through it, since we have two sign projects on the docket.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And so I think that's it and then we won't remind everyone because it's September 18th, the training that's coming up from
Right.
the Department of State. Yep. So that was
Okay.
the agenda. Thank you.
All right. Then I think that's all for today. Any further thoughts? Nobody. Okay. Thank you all.
I just have one question.
Yes.
It's for Sam. Sam, our regular meetings don't seem to be on my calendar. Did I delete those unintentionally, or are they not on there?
I'll send you the invite again, Max, and then maybe we can figure that out over
Okay.
email.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I think we can adjourn for today. Thank you, everyone.